want to thank each and every one of you for coming out today to support us. I want to thank you for your invite down here. As the current Colorado State Association Letter Carriers Legislative Chair, I enjoy things like this. I enjoy seeing us coming together in unity, whether it's letter carriers, rural letter carriers, ABWU, the clerks, the other unions who represent and work for America. So, again, my name is Jaynes. I was asked to come down here and give you a little history lesson about the post office, the Postal Service. And so, oh, there it is. I think that's because John knows how old I am, and I probably lived through most of this. And so, let me reminisce a little bit about the post office, about the Postal Service. So back in 1775, in May, a month after the British had gone to Lexington and Concord and effed around and started to find out, the Second Continental Congress adjourned so that they could figure out how to fund the war, how they could how they could start the Declaration of Independence and what that was going to look like, and also to establish the post office. They knew how important communication was to the colonies, to their efforts, to make sure that they were able to be united in their fight. 1789, George Washington wrote and said, "Let us bind these people to us with a chain that cannot ever be broken." That still applies to the post office today. We need to bind, and the country wants us to bind them together. But we also bind them to the government. George Washington was not president at that time. He was just a leader of the country. A leader who knew how important it was to hear from the Americans, hear from the normal people, the regular people, of their voice, of their desire, of what this United States looks like. 1787, the Constitution was written and was signed. Article 1, Section 8, I think that's 92, gives Congress and says that the Congress shall have the power to establish post offices. This gives and gave Congress the exclusive power to show what the post office looks like, how it operates, how it runs. 1792, it took Congress to approve a comprehensive legislation that was signed into law by George Washington as president. 1794, Congress authorized the appointment of letter carriers, created the funding, gave us our wages. In the very beginning of this country, Congress established the post office, said what the post office is going to look like, and help bind this country together, whether it's letters or commerce. If you jump to the Civil War, think of yourself, you think it's cold here, think of Cleveland, Ohio in January and February during the Civil War. Families would come to the post office each and every day looking for letters from their loved ones from the battlefield. They'd go then across the street to the city square and look for the post of their regiment. Ohio Regiment D had this post. Regiment B had this post. They looked for the names of their loved ones, saying that they had been killed. The postmaster had empathy for those people and did not want them to have to come out in the cold each and every day looking for that, to find out that their loved ones had been killed or injured, and to mourn in public. He divided the city up into quadrants and started something totally unusual, door-to-door delivery of mail, of those government notices of their deaths, of their loved ones. Congress heard about this. Congress authorized the appointment of letter carriers, of city letter carriers that would be sent out to deliver the mail. Excuse me. 1970, there was a little skirmish, a little strike. We're glad to have it. It was a wildcat strike, lasted 8 days, swept across the country. But in response to that, Congress introduced a bill, H.R. 17070, in case anybody wants to know. And through that, they passed this legislation that created the Postal Service. We went from a post office, government agency, to the Postal Service, an independent agency. They mandated universal service and delivery across the country. No matter where you live, the post office serves you. They don't care how much profit they make here in downtown Colorado Springs, or Beulah, Colorado, or Springfield, Colorado. They serve each and every one of them, because that is what a government service does. Now, we've carried and worked through some very trying times. We had the Unabomber sending packages of bombs to some enemy of the state in his mind. But I know as a carrier in Boulder, with all the tech companies, with the research companies, when I carried every day to their homes, I always wondered, was this going to be a bomb? Was this going to be something? That was always in the back of our minds. It was something that I didn't think I'd ever have to worry about as a letter carrier. In 2001, on Tuesday, September 11th, we all remember where we were, what we were doing when we heard the news that this country was under attack, flying planes into the Pentagon, into the World Trade Centers, and the plane that was destined for the White House. The next day, Wednesday, September 12th, was probably the proudest day I had as a letter carrier. We were the face of the government. I remember Miss Swenson. She was about 80 years old at the time. She was about yay tall. She asked if she could hug me because she knew that by seeing me out there, that this government was going to persevere, that this country was going to remain and be strong because we were doing what the government had always done for us. A week later, we had the anthrax scare. We had someone out there decided to mail anthrax through the mail. Luckily, only a few postal workers got sick. They all survived. The ricin scare, bioterrorism again, went through the post office. We lost 2 postal workers, and a whole lot of other postal workers got sick. Luckily, they survived. Most recently, we had the 2020, we had the pandemic. we were carrying this country on our back. We were still doing our job. We were serving this country. We were maintaining a outlook that we will get through this. We did lose 127 letter carriers with COVID. And we mourn those people every day. I know we lost many more clerks who are confined to the buildings and the mail centers. But we did our job because that's what Congress authorized to do. That's what Congress told us to do. We followed we followed the law. 2022, Congress passed the Postal Reform Act. It brought into legislation the 6-day delivery. We maintain and we deliver 6 days a week because Congress tells us to. It also reaffirmed the universal delivery, that every address here in America will be served by the Postal Service. So when the executive branch defies the law and comes out and says they're going to move it under the Department of Congress, when it usurps the constitutionality given power up to Congress to define what the post office is, how it looks, and how it carries, we not only say no, but we say hell no. Hell no!
Thank you, Doug Jaynes.